When I started planning my next move after London, two cities came to mind, Hong Kong and Singapore. Both global hubs, both buzzing with opportunity, both offering that mix of modern life and international energy. I spent weeks comparing them, visa requirements, lifestyle costs, even what day-to-day life might actually feel like. And the more I researched, the more Singapore fascinated me. The first thing that stood out was how ordered everything seemed. Singapore has this calm efficiency that's hard to describe until you see it. It's clean, structured, and somehow manages to weave greenery into the middle of all those high-rises. Mornings might be in a shiny office tower, afternoons on the MRT, calmer and far less chaotic than the tube, and evenings unwinding by the water or in the green trails just outside the city. The MRT is spotless and quiet. No screeching brakes, no packed platforms, no one shouting into their phone. Just air conditioning, smooth rides, and silence. It feels like the whole system runs on respect. Day-to-day life is comfortable, but not cheap. Rent takes a big chunk of your income, especially if you want a condo with a pool or gym. Most locals live in HDB flats, the government-built apartments that are far more affordable, but those are mostly off-limits to foreigners unless you're a permanent resident. Eating at hawker centres is where Singapore really shines. Some of the best food in the world for just a few dollars. But eating out at restaurants or grabbing drinks, that adds up quickly. Utilities too. Air conditioning is great until the bill comes in. Unlike the NHS in the UK, which covers almost everything for everyone, Singapore's MediShield Life only applies to citizens and permanent residents, and it mainly helps with big hospital bills. As an expat, you're outside that system, so you'll need private insurance. One of the perks of living in Singapore is how easy it is to take weekend trips around Asia. Places like Bali, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur are just a few hours by plane. Compared to London, where Europe is close for short trips, Singapore makes exploring Southeast Asia fast and convenient. You can escape to the tropics almost any weekend. Once I started looking into visas, I realised Singapore's immigration system is built like the rest of the country, precise and structured. Every pathway has a purpose. The Employment Pass, or EP, is the standard route for professionals. You'll need a job offer from a Singapore-based company, relevant experience or qualifications, and a minimum monthly salary of around 5,600 Singapore dollars. That figure increases with age. The older you are, the higher the expected salary. The hardest part isn't the paperwork, it's finding a company willing to sponsor. Employers can be cautious, and the EP is tied to that specific job, so if you leave, you'll need a new sponsor. But once approved, it's a stable, long-term option that fits most professionals. Then there's the Personalised Employment Pass, or PEP. That's for senior professionals who've earned at least 22,500 Singapore dollars a month previously. You don't need a job to apply, and you can switch jobs without reapplying for a new visa, which makes it very flexible. The catch is it's valid for 3 years and non-renewable. It's meant as a bridge for experienced professionals to enter Singapore and explore opportunities before committing to a longer-term visa like an employment pass. The S-Pass is for mid-level professionals, people with solid experience who may not meet the EP salary threshold. The minimum salary starts around 3,300 Singapore dollars, depending on industry and seniority. It's renewable as long as you and your employer continue to meet the criteria. The challenge is competition. Companies have quotas on how many S-Pass holders they can hire, so approvals depend on those limits. If you're moving with a partner or family, things get a bit more complicated. Spouses and children of EP or S-Pass holders can live in Singapore on a Dependents Pass, or DP. That allows them to stay, but not to work automatically. If they want to take a job, they'll need their own EP, S-Pass, or work permit. There's also the Long-Term Visit Pass, or LTVP. That's mainly for family members of Singapore citizens or permanent residents. Only those LTVP holders can apply for a letter of consent, or LOC, which lets them work. So if both of you are foreigners, say one on an EP and the other on a DP, the LOC doesn't apply. It's a small detail, but one that's easy to overlook and important to plan around. And then there's the One Pass, Singapore's most flexible visa. It's valid for 5 years and it lets you work for multiple employers or even start your own business. but it's reserved for top-tier professionals, those earning 30,000 Singapore dollars or more per month, or with significant achievements in fields like sports, academia, or the arts. It's the ultimate freedom pass, but only for a very select group. What I took away from all this research is that Singapore runs on precision. It rewards structure, consistency, and clarity. The EP gives you stability. The PEP gives you flexibility. The S-Pass gives you opportunity. And the One Pass gives you total freedom if you're at that level. Compared to Hong Kong, Singapore feels more rule-driven but more balanced day to day. It's efficient, calm, and designed for people who value structure. For me, family ties made Hong Kong the right move. But Singapore came close, the kind of place where if everything lines up, you could build a really good life.